A white mummy, unexpectedly discovered in a Chinese desert, forces history to be rewritten. Dear friends, on the journey of exploring human history, there are moments that leave the whole world speechless. There are discoveries that shake the foundations of theories once considered truth. Today I will take you to one of the most controversial and shocking archaeological mysteries ever found in Asia, the Tarim mummies, also known as the white-skinned mummies in the heart of China. Yes, you heard that right. White-skinned people with blonde hair, blue eyes, and tall stature, found perfectly preserved in the sands of the Taklamakan Desert, one of the harshest places on Earth. What makes this story even more fascinating is that it could completely change what we know about the history of East Asian civilization. These mummies not only amazed archaeologists, but also forced historians to face the question, did ancient Eastern civilizations really develop in isolation as we once thought? Let's go back to the early 20th century. At that time, a Swedish explorer named Sven Hedin, nicknamed the Desert Wanderer, ventured into the desolate Taklamakan Desert, a place of nothing but sandstorms, dry bones, and vague legends. During an excavation near the ancient Silk Road, he discovered some old sand tombs. But what stunned him were the skeletons inside. They showed no East Asian traits. Instead, these were tall skeletons with long skulls and light-colored hair, clear anthropological features indicating they could not have been native to the region according to racial classifications of that era. So why, after thousands of years, are white-skinned people buried deep beneath the soil of China? Who were they? Where did they come from? And what is their connection to ancient Chinese history? These questions followed him back to Europe, where he sent the mummies for study. Unfortunately, World War I broke out, and everything was halted. The mystery was buried again, not by desert sands, but by war and politics. It wasn't until the 1970s that the discovery was revived. Chinese archaeologists began excavating ancient burial sites in the Tarim Basin. There, they found not just a few, but over 300 mummies, most astonishingly well preserved. Even more amazing, all the mummies shared a strange commonality: European or Caucasian anthropological features. They had blonde or chestnut hair, fair skin, high noses, and some even reached heights of nearly 6.5 feet. If you're thinking of ancient Western explorers lost in the area, that's not the case. This happened almost 4,000 years ago, long before the ancient Chinese civilization had fully developed its imperial system. Among the most famous mummies is the Beauty of Lulan, a woman discovered in 1980 in the southern part of the Lop Nor Desert. Can you imagine? A body over 3,800 years old, yet her chestnut hair is still intact, her skin fair, her figure tall and slender, her nose straight, as if she had just closed her eyes recently. But what's touching and remarkable is that her body was not placed in a coffin, but wrapped in a straw mat. Beside her lay a comb, a basket, and a hand-woven carpet, simple everyday items as if they had accompanied her throughout her life. Today, she rests in the Urumqi Museum, becoming a vivid witness to an unwritten chapter of history. Not far from where the Beauty of Lulan was found, another discovery shook the scientific community: the mummy of a man nearly 6.5 feet tall, with gray hair, fair skin, and a face covered in mysterious tattoos. He was named the Churchin Man, after the town near his burial site. During the excavation of this tomb, archaeologists found not only his body, but also 10 headgear pieces, a saddle, horse skulls, and even horseshoes arranged around the grave, suggesting he might have been a powerful nomadic tribal leader. Most strikingly, beside him lay the mummy of a 3-month-old infant wrapped in a shroud, resting on a sheepskin pillow with eyes covered by 2 blue stones, a sorrowful yet poetic image of a vanished culture. Since then, scientists worldwide have been caught in a wave of debates. Who were the Tarim mummies? Where did they come from? Could they have been founders of ancient Chinese states, as some local legends suggest? One hypothesis proposes that they were the Tocharians, also called Tocharians, an ancient Indo-European people who lived across Central Asia. The Tocharian language has been found in ancient texts from Xinjiang, related to Sanskrit, ancient Greek, and even Latin. However, not everyone agrees. Some Chinese scholars remain skeptical, fearing that this might challenge the theory of the continuous development of Chinese civilization, one that claims China as an independent cradle, uninfluenced by outside migrations. Interestingly, a record from Roman historian Pliny the Elder reveals that in the 1st century AD, an envoy from Ceylon, modern-day Sri Lanka, described the people in western China as taller than average, with blonde hair and blue eyes. This detail strangely matches the appearance of the Tarim mummies. But ultimately, did the Tocharians influence Chinese civilization? Or were they simply nomadic groups who wandered into the area and were buried by time and sand? We still do not have a definitive answer. What is clear is that the white-skinned mummies of the Taklamakan Desert are the most important clue to rewriting the history of this region. So now I want to ask you, is human history really as simple as textbooks teach? How many mysteries are buried beneath the dry sands? And are we ready to accept truths that could overturn the foundations of history? Do you think the Tarim mummies are remnants of a lost civilization that once connected Europe and Asia thousands of years ago? Or are they just a small piece of the complex puzzle of ancient migrations? Please leave your comments below. I would love to hear your thoughts. For now, to get a more objective view of ancient evidence that might change how we think, even overturn history as we know it, let's explore some recently discovered ancient mummies and see what the past might be hiding from us. 2,200-year-old obese mummy shocks the scientific community. Have you ever wondered whether the health issues we face today are truly products of the modern world? Obesity, cardiovascular disease, tooth decay, ailments so common today are often assumed to be recent phenomena, emerging only in the past few decades. But the truth might surprise you. Thousands of years ago, people were already suffering from similar conditions, and more remarkably, they left us concrete evidence: ancient mummies. Let's explore the story of a remarkable mummy, over 2,200 years old, discovered in Egypt and recently displayed at the Israel Museum. This mummy has drawn attention not only for its age, but also for the medical conditions scientists uncovered in the body of this man, an elite individual who once lived a life of luxury and indulgence. His name was Eret Hor Iru, affectionately nicknamed Alex. Thanks to modern technology, archaeologists and medical experts performed a CT scan on Alex's body, revealing a treasure trove of data. The scan showed that Alex had suffered from several conditions familiar to us today, including tooth decay, clogged arteries, and even obesity. This discovery gives us serious pause for thought. When we think of obesity, we usually associate it with modern life, processed foods, sugary snacks, and sedentary habits. But Alex, who lived more than 2 millennia ago, experienced similar health problems in a completely different historical setting. To understand this, we need to look at the broader context of ancient Egyptian society. They were pioneers in agriculture and had a highly stratified social structure. The upper class in particular owned land and wealth, enjoying a life filled with rich food and comfort, vastly different from the everyday life of the common people. Alex was a prime example of this elite group. Gallet Bennett, curator of the exhibition at the Israel Museum, noted that in addition to obesity-related illnesses, Alex's mummy also showed signs of osteoporosis and gum disease, clear indicators of overconsumption of sugar and starches. During his lifetime, Alex likely led a sedentary lifestyle with little sun exposure, which may have contributed to his weakened bones. If you think about modern life today, it's easy to draw a parallel with office workers, sitting for long hours at computers, moving little, and eating fast food loaded with sugar. Strangely enough, over 2,000 years ago, these same patterns and consequences were already present. Gallet Bennett once remarked, "Osteoporosis is considered a disease of the 20th century when people no longer had to perform heavy physical labor." But we were surprised to find that such illnesses already existed in ancient Egyptian society. Isn't that astonishing? The wealthy of the ancient world weren't just legendary figures from myths, they also dealt with very modern health issues. So, what was the root cause of obesity back then? Why would someone become obese in an era when food was not nearly as abundant as it is today? The answer lies in the social and cultural values of the time. According to archaeologists and historians, obesity was not always viewed negatively. On the contrary, in many ancient cultures, including Egypt and parts of Europe, larger body size was seen as a symbol of wealth, power, and good health. At a time when most people had to labor intensely just to survive, the ability to live without physical toil, eat abundantly, and gain weight was a visible sign of high social status. In this context, obesity was pursued as a mark of prosperity and success. So, Alex and many other mummies discovered with signs of obesity were not isolated cases. A major 2013 study analyzed 137 mummies from various cultures around the world and found that approximately 34% of them had evidence of cardiovascular disease. This strongly suggests that the ailments we often associate with modern living have in fact existed throughout human history. Additional studies on mummified remains from Kagamil Island near Alaska revealed similar findings. Even among physically active people, signs of heart disease were present. This led scientists to propose that cardiovascular conditions may not be caused solely by sedentary lifestyles or poor diets, but could also be influenced by other, yet-to-be-discovered factors. From the story of Alex and other archaeological discoveries, we can see that human health is a complex issue, transcending time and geography. Regardless of the era, the basic principles of diet and movement remain crucial. Overconsumption of sugar and starch, combined with lack of physical activity, has always led to serious health consequences. That's why Alex's story is not just a journey into the past, it's also a wake-up call for us today. An 800-year-old mummy with bound hands and covered face discovered in an ancient Peruvian plaza. In 2021, at the Cajamarquilla Archaeological site, just about 15.5 miles from Lima, a research team from the National University of San Marcos made a startling discovery that stunned the archaeological world. It wasn't a traditional mummy lying flat as we often imagine, but rather a body with its hands tied by rope, its hands also covering its face, a haunting image that raises many unanswered questions. Have you ever wondered why this mummy was treated in such a peculiar way? Could it be a unique funerary practice of the southern Peruvian people in pre-Hispanic times? Early theories suggest it may have been part of a spiritual or ritual ceremony, perhaps to preserve or express a deeper meaning surrounding death and the individual's place in society. Remarkably, the mummy is estimated to be at least 800 years old, meaning it predates even the famous Inca civilization, the one known for the legendary Machu Picchu and its cultural peak in the 15th century. This is truly a rare find, opening a time portal back to an era that history has yet to fully reveal. This wasn't just a preserved body. It was discovered inside an underground structure, where archaeologists also unearthed a variety of ancient offerings, finely crafted ceramics, plant remains, and stone tools. All these artifacts point to a rich and complex cultural life of the people who once lived there. You can imagine this site not only as a burial place, but also a center for important rituals that reflected the community's social relationships and belief systems. According to archaeologist Peter van Dalen Luna, who participated in the excavation, the mummy most likely belonged to a young man between 25 and 30 years old. He is believed to have come from a remote mountainous area and later migrated to Cajamarquilla, which was a bustling trade center before the Columbian era. This leads to a fascinating question. Was this man a wealthy merchant or someone of high social status? After all, his body was placed at the heart of the most important plaza, an area central to community life. Adding to the mystery, archaeologists found the remains of several marine mollusks right outside the tomb. This is particularly puzzling because Cajamarquilla is located about 15.5 miles from the coast, and clearly, sea creatures cannot travel such distances on their own. So why were these sea offerings found here? Van Dalen Luna explained that this may be evidence that rituals and offerings continued long after the burial, an ongoing act of devotion and spiritual reverence from future generations. These offerings, including marine mollusks and llama meat, a traditional delicacy of the region, strongly suggest that the deceased was no ordinary person. He may have played a key role in trade or social structures of the time. This extraordinary uniqueness has attracted the attention not only of archaeologists, but also of history and archaeology enthusiasts from around the world. Even now, the research team is conducting more in-depth analyses, including radiocarbon dating, to better determine the exact time frame in which this individual lived. Upcoming results will likely provide even more valuable clues, helping to uncover the mysteries surrounding this enigmatic figure and the rich cultural heritage of the pre-Inca people. Isn't it fascinating to realize that through discoveries like this, we gain more than just knowledge of burial practices? We also uncover insights into the social dynamics, belief systems, and economic activities of ancient Peruvian communities. That's the true allure of archaeology. It's not just about digging up old relics. It's a journey of connecting the past to the present, helping us reimagine the lives of people who walked this earth centuries ago. What if you were the one to continue this journey with me, exploring unsolved mysteries of lost civilizations? Strange mummies, ancient rituals, and vibrant fragments of history continue to emerge before us. Let's follow the footsteps of archaeologists, listen to the voices of the past, and reflect on the values they've left behind. Because every discovery not only illuminates history, it also deepens our appreciation for the traditions and people who helped shape the world we live in today. 4,200-year-old Egyptian mummy died from cancer, study reveals. On September 19th, a team of international scientists from Australia and South Korea published a groundbreaking study in the prestigious journal Philosophical Transactions of the Royal Society A. Their research focused on uncovering the causes of death in ancient Egyptians. Remarkably, they used advanced protein analysis technology to examine skin and muscle tissue samples from 3 mummies over 4,200 years old, preserved at the Egyptian Museum in Turin, Italy. These mummies date back to approximately 2181 to 2055 BCE during Egypt's first intermediate period, a turbulent era marked by political instability, prolonged drought, and famine. The remains were excavated from cemeteries in Asyut and Gebelein between 1911 and 1920 under the leadership of archaeologist Ernesto Schiaparelli. Among the 3 mummies analyzed were those of a woman named Khepeshet and a man named Idi. Both were buried in tightly sealed wooden coffins alongside precious objects, symbols of their elite status in ancient Egyptian society. The 3rd mummy, however, was placed in a coffin made from a hollowed-out tree trunk, which led to poorer preservation and made analysis more challenging. Thanks to modern techniques, researchers were able to analyze over 230 types of proteins from the skin and soft tissue samples. These analyses revealed signs of serious medical conditions, including inflammation, infection, and, most notably, indications of cancer. In Khepeshet's skin sample, scientists identified a protein that signals a strong immune response, clearly pointing to a severe lung infection, most likely tuberculosis. Tuberculosis was a leading cause of death in ancient times, and this discovery offers important insight into the health struggles faced by ancient Egyptians. Similarly, Idi's mummy showed elevated levels of proteins associated with inflammation and intense immune reactions. But what truly caught the scientists' attention was the discovery of 2 specific proteins in his muscle tissue: DMBT1, known to suppress tumor growth, and transglutaminase, an enzyme linked to the formation and progression of cancer, especially pancreatic cancer. These findings led the research team to theorize that Idi may have suffered from pancreatic cancer or a similar type of cancer, which ultimately caused his death. This conclusion is particularly shocking because it challenges the common belief that cancer is strictly a modern illness. In truth, evidence of cancer has existed for millennia and may have affected ancient civilizations more than we ever imagined. As for the 3rd mummy, though analysis was limited due to protein degradation from less secure burial conditions, scientists still uncovered important clues. The findings suggest that harsh environmental and living conditions at the time had significant impacts on people's health. The first intermediate period was marked by the collapse of central government, long-lasting droughts, and rampant famine. These stresses severely weakened the human immune system, increasing vulnerability to infectious diseases like malaria, tuberculosis, and dangerous parasitic illnesses such as leishmaniasis. Public health conditions during this era were truly alarming. So what can we learn from this study? First, it sheds new light on the history of ancient medicine, showing that serious illnesses like cancer are not unique to the modern world. They've existed for thousands of years. This research also provides a deeper look into how ancient people lived, suffered, and coped with health threats under incredibly challenging social and environmental conditions. Moreover, these findings encourage us to reconsider the nature of cancer and other chronic diseases. While modern factors like pollution and lifestyle certainly play a role, there may also be genetic and biological influences passed down through generations that still affect us today. In many ways, the study of ancient Egyptian mummies isn't just about the past. It helps us understand ourselves better, our health, our diseases, and how humanity has evolved alongside illness over the millennia. Do you think these discoveries might change how we see medicine and human history? That's the true power of archaeology, where every artifact holds mysterious stories and valuable lessons for both today's world and future generations. As you can see, the past doesn't stay frozen in time. With each archaeological dig, more remarkably well-preserved mummies are being uncovered. What do you think? Don't hesitate to share your thoughts in the comments below. And of course, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel so you won't miss any other fascinating discoveries. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.